Ladies and gentlemen, is Senator Ron Johnson, Republican from the great state of Wisconsin, Foreign Relations Committee member, and also a Homeland Security Committee member. Hello, Senator.
Hello, Steve. How you doing?
Great, great. So much to talk about today. I appreciate you being on. What do you make of the rationale here and the whole prisoner exchange and Hagel saying we didn't negotiate with terrorists, and by the way, it's not going to encourage anybody to kidnap any American soldiers?
Well, it's a lot of rationalization. Obviously, they did negotiate with terrorists. Obviously, we're all pleased that Sergeant Bergdahl is safe and is going to be returned to America and home. But, you know, there's some pretty serious questions that need answers in terms of this negotiation about this deal. These are some of the worst terrorists, certainly that we had in our detention, and I think it's very fitting and appropriate that Congress uses its oversight rule to ask those questions. I have no idea why the administration didn't come to Congress, at least brief members of the Intelligence Committee. I think it just would have been smart from a standpoint of trying to convince members of Congress what it was they were trying to do. I think I'm correct in saying that Defense Secretary Leon Panetta declined this deal earlier.
Yes, that's
so.
What
I mean, there's some serious questions about this exchange.
Well, let me ask you this, and I've heard both ways on this. Is it illegal what the president did, or was there a change in that law instituted in some kind of bill not too long ago that says he no longer had to come to Congress 30 days before a prison transfer with Gitmo?
Well, I don't think things like the War Powers Act, this provision of the Defense Authorization Bill, some of these things have not been reviewed judicially. So you got a law in a book, but you've got their presidents that generally ignore it. From my standpoint, Steve, I really do believe we need a commander-in-chief. And I give President a fair amount of latitude when it comes to defense of this nation and national security. So I would say it's, I know the law's on the books, and technically, I obviously didn't follow the law. I just don't know whether the law completely applies.
Did he make us less safe, and did he make our soldiers all over the world, and quite frankly, Americans who travel to spots where there might be trouble, did he make Americans all over the world less safe?
I think you can argue that point. That's certainly what I'm concerned about. I think that's what a lot of us will be concerned about, and that's just in terms of what message does it send to terrorists and other people that will try and hold Americans hostage. But also, we're not exactly sure what's going to happen after a year. You have to admit, I'm not sure what Qatar's going to do with these terrorists in the year that they're going to be holding them. So, now, again, there are a lot of questions that deserve answers.
I'll bet you what's going to happen after a year. They'll go right back to what they were doing, and it's a shame, and it's frightening when you think we're going to be leaving there, and then these people are coming back there at the same time. Let me ask you about the controversy surrounding whether or not he was a deserter, the sergeant, whether he left on his own. He had emailed his family that he was ashamed of being an American and trashed the military. And then the non-disclosure forms that many in the unit had to sign. Some are speaking out now saying he was a deserter. We have 6 soldiers killed directly in the search for him in the multi-weeks after that. 8 soldiers died at a forward point in Afghanistan that was scheduled for closure but stayed open because of this. And another 2 were killed after resources were taken out of an area, according to CNN. So that's 16 soldiers. Does all this matter to you, or should we still have tried, our hardest to get him out?
Well, obviously, I have no further information than what you've just described, and really, I'm in no position to judge. I did not serve with the sergeant, and I know a lot of people are coming out and making a bunch of comments, but I'll leave those comments for those individuals that have firsthand knowledge.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's talk a little bit about Hillary and her book. A lot of attention was given to it late last week when they released an excerpt, chapter 30-something, maybe 32, that addressed Benghazi. And in it, she basically said that she doesn't want any part of the people who want to keep exploiting this, I'm paraphrasing now, on the backs of our dead Americans, and also that she will not be a part of any of this if it continues. Is this, I thought we heard the explanation of how she would handle this from Bill Clinton, who laid out in an interview about a week and a half ago that secretaries of state don't handle security. She did the right thing forming a panel, which they've now implemented recommendations, blah, blah, blah. But it seems like Hillary's laying the groundwork for saying, I want no part of a hearing. I want no part of more testimony. I'm not going to participate in this. It's outrageous. Where do you think she's going with this?
Well, she doesn't want to be a part of providing the American people the truth. And Steve, the reason she got so testy in her testimony in front of me when she,
what difference
exclaimed,
does it
what
make?
difference
Yeah.
does it make, is because I was asking some pretty uncomfortable questions, and pretty simple ones. Why didn't you just get on the phone, call the survivors, find out how they were doing, see if you could do anything for their family, but then find out what actually happened so you didn't mislead the American public for 2 weeks. The reason I don't think she wants to answer those questions is I think she feels culpable. She was the head of the State Department. She's head of the department that not only denied the repeated requests for beefing up security, they actually ramped down security, and as a result, 4 Americans are dead. Steve, I really don't believe those 4 brave Americans would have lost their lives had we just had a very small contingent of armed Marines there. That attack, I don't think, ever would have happened, and it was Hillary Clinton's dereliction of duty as being the head of the State Department that allowed that to happen. So, no, I can see why she doesn't want to talk about this, because she doesn't want America fully understanding her culpability, her dereliction of duty.
Yeah, and it's going to go beyond that as well to other issues, including Ukraine and whatnot. What you make of the State Department the other day, Kerry and the spokesperson, both saying that the president doesn't get enough credit for his foreign policy successes, and they specifically mentioned Ukraine as one of them.
Well, I just don't know what his foreign policy successes are. People say he has no strategy. I think he does. He has a strategy of apology. He has a strategy of weakness, of withdrawal. And, as much as I think we would all like to just look at America and just kind of forget about the rest of the world, Steve, the fact of the matter is America is the world's superpower. And when America doesn't lead, it creates strategic voids in the world, and particularly when America shows weakness. China's watching, Iran's watching, North Korea's watching, Vladimir Putin's watching, and so people without exactly the goodwill of all men on their minds start feeling those strategic voids, and the world becomes a more dangerous place.
And Senator, if they were watching him at West Point the other day, what do you think those aforementioned actors came away with?
Well, they take comfort in the fact that they can continue their aggressive expansion. They can keep pushing the envelope with impunity. That this president, particularly in the next 2.5 years, will probably do nothing to stop them, and that is a real problem for our national security.
I got one more for you, and that involves the EPA coming out today. Basically, the president, when he ran, said that there would never be another coal plant able to open. This is back before '08, and that by definition, his energy policy would make electricity rates skyrocket, and nobody cared, apparently, because they elected him twice. I think he's converted West Virginia, as one of my guests said, beyond repair now, and maybe some other states as well, like Kentucky and others that have big coal industries. What do you make of this EPA, this executive order, if you will, once again circumventing the Congress and just imposing his will?
Well, it is true. He couldn't get his cap and trade proposals passed in Congress, so now he's going to continue his unilateral governance, which is really the heart of my lawsuit, is trying to provide some sort of congressional check to this president that's acting like a king. But no, I wish America would have listened to this president when he said that because of his cap and trade proposals, electricity rates would necessarily skyrocket. I wish they would have listened to his energy secretary, who said that somehow we got to get our gasoline price up to the level of Europe. Well, when President Obama became president, I think gas was below $2 a gallon. Now we're all sitting back relieved when it's only $3.50 a gallon.
Yeah, he said he had no problem. This was back in '08. He had no problem with it going to $7, $8 a gallon. He just didn't want it to happen too quickly.
It's their stated policy. Steve, I have no idea why this president, this administration wants to regulate us back to the Stone Age. But boy, America better start paying attention to what this administration is trying to do to this country. It's just, it's self-inflicted wounds time and time again, whether it's uncompetitive tax rates or onerous regulatory environment, and now we're not even utilizing our own God-given energy resources to keep energy prices low so we can compete on the global market, so we can actually create jobs that would strengthen the middle class.
Well, it's going to take your lawsuit and things of that nature to succeed to stop him, because I don't see anything else stopping him, unfortunately. Hey, thank you, Senator. Great to talk to you, sir.
Have a great day.
You too. Senator Ron Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Steve Malzberg Show. You think there's plenty to talk about? How many topics did we cover in 11 minutes in that interview? Quite a few. All right. You got 5 minutes in the next segment, and you know what we call that? Give me 5. And it's coming up. Don't go away.